Hi, everybody. Welcome to the online admissions talk for the School of Humanities and Social Science. My name is Joshua Dearman. I'm the Associate Dean for undergraduate programs in the school. I'm also an Associate Professor of Humanities in the Division of Humanities.
And I'm Cameron Campbell. I'm a Professor of Social Science in the Division of Social Science here in the school, and I'm also the Program Director for Quantitative Social Analysis.
We're joined today by two of our undergraduate student ambassadors, Fernando, who is a major in Global China Studies, and Hyson, who's majoring in Quantitative Social Analysis. We're going to tell you a bit about our program and our student experiences in both GCS and QSA. And at the end, there'll be time for you to ask your questions about the program, which we're very happy to answer. So let's get started. We're really proud to be a leading center for the study of the humanities and the social sciences, not only regionally in Asia, but also globally. We're ranked #1 in citations per paper in social science among Asian universities. We're ranked #5 in Asia and #26 in the world in social science and management, and #28 in Asia in arts and humanities. Our school is divided into 3 academic units: the Division of Humanities, the Division of Social Science, and the Center for Language Education. Our faculty have been trained at some of the leading institutions in the world, including the universities of Cambridge and Oxford, LSE, Harvard, Berkeley, Chicago, Princeton, Cornell, and Stanford. And many of them have had prior experience teaching at other leading institutions before coming to HKUST, including the University of Michigan, Johns Hopkins, UCLA, Oxford, the National University of Singapore, and the University of Maryland. One of the distinctive features about our research divisions is that they are interdisciplinary in nature. That means they don't focus exclusively on a singular discipline, but instead are comprised of researchers who pursue a variety of different approaches to knowledge. For example, in the Division of Humanities, we have faculty researching and teaching in anthropology, art and music, history, linguistics, literature, philosophy, and religion. And in social science, we have faculty teaching and researching in demography, economics, political science, psychology, sociology, and quantitative history. Our school offers 2 major programs: Global China Studies and Quantitative Social Analysis, which we'll be telling you more about in detail shortly. We also offer a number of minor programs to students majoring in other schools who want to learn more about the humanities and social science. We offer minor programs in social science, humanities, China studies, and psychology and behavioral science. And SHSS students can also take psychology as well. It'll begin in 2020 as the first year of our new minor program. As the Program Director of Global China Studies, I'd like to tell you a bit more about the goals and structure of our program. Global China Studies is a multidisciplinary program that builds expertise in the history, culture, society, and politics of China, viewed from a comparative and global context. We seek to build students' skills in critical thinking, in a variety of approaches to knowledge in both the humanities and social science, in both qualitative and quantitative research methodologies. We hope to build their expertise in both public speaking and presentations. One of the highlights of our year is an annual Global China Studies mini conference, where students have the opportunity to talk about the research that they've been conducting to their peers and their faculty. All students also have to write a capstone paper in their final year, or an honors thesis, which gives them a chance to explore their own interests in greater detail. Finally, all students have to take courses in both English and Chinese writing and speaking skills so that they'll have the linguistic skills that are necessary for leadership in a variety of fields. Now I'd like to tell you a bit about the breakdown of the curriculum in Global China Studies. First, there's the University Common Core. Now this is the palette of courses in a variety of different fields that all undergraduates at HKUST, no matter what their major is, take. Then there is the core of the GCS major. These are our required courses and our required electives within the major. There are 2 tracks within the program, which I'll tell you about more in a moment. Finally, there are the free electives. This is the complement of free classes that students within the major can take, either to pursue interests of their own from other schools or to develop an additional major or minor program as part of their degree. All first-year GCS students take 4 required first-year classes, courses on Chinese history, Chinese society, world history, and globalization. This builds a common body of knowledge, which will be the basis for their further, later, more specialized coursework. At the end of their first year, all GCS students choose between 2 tracks in the major for the next 3 years of their study. If they're interested in continuing to take courses about evenly distributed between the humanities and the social science, they can choose our integrated humanities and social science track. But if they'd like to specialize more in the social sciences, there is a specialized social science track for them as well. And within each of these tracks, students choose electives within several categories of courses, which ensure that they both have a broad base of knowledge within each of those tracks, as well as an opportunity to choose a path of study and specialization for themselves within the major. And now we'll hear a bit more from one of our GCS students and ambassadors, Fernando, about his experience in the program.
Thank you very much. So my name is Fernando. I'm currently a 4th year final year student in the Global China Studies program. So I'm also minoring in design. That's part of the School of Engineering, just to show you a bit of how our students can really go and diversify in their interests here at HKUST. So I'm originally from Spain. I'm an international student here, non-local. And in case you have any questions, of course, you can ask through the webinar itself. But if you come up with a question later today or in the following days, feel free to send me an email at the email you see on screen right now. So let's get started. I like to start off with this map very often because I think it portrays really nicely the multicultural nature of School of Humanities and Social Sciences. Of course, I come from Spain, that's rather far away from Hong Kong, and all the other places you can see on this map are places I have been able to go to as part of my GCS program. For instance, I did my internship in New York, which I will briefly talk about afterwards. I'm doing several health projects in Southeast Asia, particularly in Cambodia, Phnom Penh and Siem Reap. And I managed to go on exchange at the University of New South Wales in Sydney, Australia. And this diversity of cultures and ideas is also something you can find within our own campus. We have students really coming from all over the place, and it provides a really vibrant environment in which to learn about well, China in all of its ways. So I like to also talk about why GCS, because really this is the question people ask me most often after, are you an exchange student? Of course, I am not. And I think it really is a good question. I have some key points I like to address when answering it. And that is that the way I see it, GCS is truly a unique experience. I like to think that every GCS graduate has graduated with a different major, insofar as you have so many opportunities to specialize and pursue your own interests within that major, that no single graduate really has had the same experience while at our university. There's a wide range of skills you can learn here, and as we have already been talking about today, plenty of electives for you to choose from, which really allows you to choose the track, path or area of study which you might be most interested in. Of course, there's plenty of opportunities within your studies, but also outside of them in terms of extracurricular activities and so on. So let me just briefly address some of this. this is a picture of mine at the Student Innovation for Global Health Technology program. So I am part, or I'm leading a team for the development of an electronic medical record system. Now, after hearing this, most people tend to think, well, what are you doing there? It would seem like only engineers would be suitable for this kind of job. And well, in reality, you also need students in the humanities and social science disciplines, really, because in the development of any technology, you need to be able to adapt it to the specific cultural, social setting that technology will be eventually introduced in. So this was my job at this conference, which indeed was really successful. These are some pictures of us implementing it in Phnom Penh. We even had a biometric iris scanner, which is a really nice feature, not something babies particularly like, as you can see from the picture, but it is one of the many experiences you can undertake as part of your GCS program or in other majors, such as QSA, of course. You can even go one step further if you want to. For instance, we decided to take this technology we had developed and put it towards innovation competitions, which we eventually won. And I find this picture really ironic, because if you can see the background of that picture, it says engineers save the world, and yet I'm holding the prize, which really is an opportunity for you to apply what you have learned in class. The many skills you will be learning while you're studying at HKUST, you can really apply them to the real world. This is simply an example of how you can, it really shows that what you learn can have an impact on the communities you might be willing to serve in the future. Of course, there's many internship opportunities. Our program is really flexible, both in terms of internships and exchange programs. As I discussed, this one was at New York. I was working on the summer of my year one for the New York State Assembly government. I was working for Assembly member Neely Rosick in Queens. It was a really unique experience. I was really grateful for it, and I was allowed, in some extent, to lead a project of participatory budgeting, the first of its kind in New York. So it really shows how our students are properly trained, and employers in the future are willing to give them the freedom to create these new exciting projects to serve communities. I like to put these pictures as well, because they really shows how it also, of course, it's in your interest to build up your CV to some extent. The first picture was taken of a local newspaper, which was at one of the sites where we were doing a mobile office in the district. And the second one is me being interviewed again by one of the local media outlets in New York when we were doing one of the conferences over there. And of course, there's plenty of stuff for you to study at HKUST, but there are many things outside of the academic realm which you can also work in. HKUST has a number, if not, well, really hundreds of student societies you can join. It's a great opportunity to also for you to make some friends. But then again, if there is something you're really interested in but you cannot find, which I think might be hard, that's totally fine, because our university and our department will be able to give you the resources to create it by yourself. So this poster you see over here, it's for Remake Repair Parties. This is somehow a startup I created by myself, which aims, operates as a social enterprise, and it aims to teach people how to fix their own broken electronic devices in order to promote the notions of sustainability, the right to repair, and reduce e-waste, which is one of the biggest or fastest growing streams of waste around the world, especially in Hong Kong. And the second picture is with a mainland student friend of mine, which we went together to Singapore representing HKUST for a conference at the Model United Nations, which it really shows how you can diversify your interests. And this diagram really gives you an idea of what I have been doing so far in my 3 and a bit years at HKUST. So my first and second and third year are done. My third year I went on exchange, as I said, to University of New South Wales in Sydney, which was a really nice experience. And I am now doing my honours thesis with Professor Kira Matos in the Division of Public Policy. It's really exciting. And I'm also applying for my MPP and MPA. So fingers crossed, I will get my offers very soon as well. There's something GCS has allowed me to do, to be able to apply to top programs around the world after I graduate here from HKUST. Well, I also like to put some of these interesting and fun courses I have taken so far. Of course, there's really many things you can take at our university, ranging from humanities and social science disciplines. I'd like to draw your attention to the last course, SOC 4000F, which is Jerusalem Through the Ages, Historical Geography of the Holy City. You might think, well, what is this course supposed to do in a Global China Studies program? Well, we have many visiting professors coming all over the time. This one was taught by a professor from the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, which came from one semester to teach this course. And at the same time, Global China Studies, of course, you will end up with highly specialized knowledge about China, but you're also learning the skills to analyze, to study many other places around the world. So through the skills I learned in GCS, I was able to apply them in the study of Jerusalem. It's really a way to see that you don't have to be bound to China if you don't want to, of course. It's the main key study for all of our courses, but you can go and pursue other things later in your program or in your career. So really go beyond. There's plenty of opportunities for you to do at GCS and QSA. So it's really up to you to how much you want to engage in those and how far you want to take your program. Of course, my email is fga@connect.usc.hk. Feel free to send me an email or ask through the webinar. Thanks.
Thanks, Fernando.
Hi, I'm going to talk now a little bit about quantitative social analysis. I actually moved here from UCLA 6 years ago, and one of the reasons that I moved was the opportunity to take part in the creation of this new undergraduate program, which we launched 3 years ago, and it's now in its third year. The program, we created it with the motive of responding to the growing availability of social data that's accumulating around the world. And in particular, we wanted to respond to the demand for people who could make use of this data. So right now, companies, nonprofits, governments, they're all looking for people who can help them analyze and interpret the vast amounts of social data that they are accumulating, whether it's on their customers, on voters, or on other people. And for the purpose of preparing people to address this need, we're offering an integrated training where people both learn social science, particular theory and evidence, as well as having a rigorous training in quantitative methods that will help them learn how to manage data, analyze data, and then interpret the data and interpret the results for decision makers. So the training that we offer has three basic components. The first is quantitative methodology. Students come in and they take foundational mathematics courses, including calculus and statistics taught in the math department, as well as more applied classes related to data analysis. They also take courses in social science theory and evidence. These include topical courses according to their interests, whether it's in political science, sociology, economics, or in other subjects, that these courses help them think like a social scientist. Finally, the third component of the training are courses in data management and analysis. In particular, as students accumulate data, how do they manage it to turn it into something that they can analyze? And this includes hands-on, more applied courses in things like geographic information systems and other topics. So the curriculum includes, like the GCS, three basic components. One is the University Common Core, very similar to a general education requirement that you might find at a lot of other universities. Then there are requirements within QSA. This includes both required courses as well as program electives. And then finally, as was the case with GCS, there are free electives. So for the QSA major itself, the requirements include social science, mathematics, language, computer science, as well as a capstone project. And then there are electives. In particular, students have to take 15 credits worth of social science electives, where again, they learn how to think like a social scientist, and they learn about theory and evidence. And then they have 12 credits worth of methodological electives, where they learn applied skills in analyzing data. So overall, the sorts of students that we're looking for are students who are good with math, or at least comfortable with math, and who want to apply their skills in math in the study of social phenomenon of topics in sociology, political science, economics, and other social science disciplines, and who are willing to learn the quantitative methods necessary to do this. So we'll turn it over now to Hai-Sen, who's now in his third year, and he's going to share some of his experiences with you.
Thank you. I'm Hai-Sen, a year 3 student in QSA. Actually, I'm the first batch of QSA students here, so I'm glad that I can get into this major and share with you guys what I have been learned in these 3 years. Actually, what QSA is about, first is about social science. Under social science, there are many sub-themes such as economics, political science, etc. And here you can have a time to explore and get some fundamental knowledge about each field. And then you try to find some field that you're interested in, and you try to do some research and using the data to analyze the result. Actually, the faculties here are they are willing to share their research experience with you and also guiding you how to build your own research. This is the most interesting when we study social science because we can find evidence by ourselves and not only looking at the theories, and also we can try to analyze those theories. To see that theory is adaptable in the modern society. And also, when we deal with data, statistics is an important tools for us to understanding the social phenomena. So we will learn some math and also we will learn programming for how to make some beautiful graphs to display your results, and also how to manage the data, which is quite important in doing social research. Here I want to share is some research experience I have in UST. Actually, QSA, this program very put many emphasis on hands-on experience, as you can work with faculty on some projects. In last summer, I worked with a faculty in HKUST for sustainable development and social innovation. For this project, I tried to collect the data by myself for some research and development data for the government budget allocation, and see how those allocation of different countries are associated on their sustainable development indicators. Through the research experience, the professor keep giving me some useful comments and guidance, which helped me a lot. And I also have learned a lot. Besides, I can also have an opportunity to attend some global conference held in HKUST and to meet some scholars from overseas about the sustainable development and consumers' behaviors, to let me understanding more about how to changing people's mind. So yeah. Then I also want to share about my internship experience. Actually, I work in CBRE, which is a real estate company. I work in their research team for the Asia Pacific real estate market. Through this experience, I can really touch with some commercial data sets about the real estate market and the rental data, and try to analyze those results, which applied what I have learned in QSA. And most importantly, I applied the presentation skills that I have learned in QSA. Actually, we not only need to analyze the data, but how to present the data is important when you, especially in workplace. So you need to generalize the result and tell what is the most important or the key message that the data can tell. So I think QSA helped me a lot in my internship experience, and yeah, maybe for the future career development. And finally, I want to share that I'm the global experience that I can have in School of Humanities and Social Science. Actually, I will go to Sciences-Po for an exchange in the next semester, which is a quite famous university, especially in the field of international relations and also the politics. I'm quite excited to have these opportunities and can't wait to go to France to explore how European countries look at international relations. So I think this might bring me favorable memories and experience to exploring different cultures and knowing about their point of view in the social science and international relations. That's the end of my presentation.
Great, thank you so much, Hyson. So now I'd like to tell you a bit of information that pertains to both of our undergraduate programs. Let me say something about our JUPAS admission requirements. For GCS, we require scores of English 3, Chinese 3, Math 2, Liberal Studies 2, and electives both 3. When we calculate our admission scores, we take your English score and multiply it by 2, and your Chinese score by 1.5. For QSA, the admissions requirements are scores of English 3, Chinese 3, Math, here it's a bit different from QSA, it's a 3 instead of a 2, Liberal Studies 2, and electives both 3. We take for QSA your English score and multiply it by 2, your Math score and multiply it by 2, and if you've taken either M1 or M2, we take those electives, we multiply it by 1.5. Another important feature of our undergraduate programs, both GCS and QSA, is the possibility of doing a dual degree program with Waseda University in Tokyo. Students who are admitted into this program do their first 3 years of coursework on campus here at UST, and then they move to Tokyo to do their last 2 years of coursework in political science, economics, and global political economy at Waseda. And when they finish, they've received degrees from both institutions. One of the best ways to learn about China in a global context is by spending time abroad. Over 80% of our students have spent at least one semester studying outside of Hong Kong. And we've got many fantastic partners in terrific parts of the world to spend time in. These include universities like Sciences Po, University of Virginia, UCLA, University of Copenhagen, Peking University, Shanghai Jiao Tong University, and that's just a sample of many of the great partnerships that we have to offer our undergraduate students. We also have the SC Liu sponsorship, which gives our undergraduates additional means to support internships, community service projects, conferences that they'd like to organize themselves, competitions, and research projects. So now we'd like to turn over the floor to you and see if you have any questions about the programs that we can answer.
The first question that we have is whether or not there are exchange opportunities for QSA students. Yes, in fact, Hysan just mentioned that he's going to Sciences Po next semester, but in fact, the HKUST in general, and certainly the School of Humanities and Social Science, as Josh just mentioned, exchange partners all over the world. And I think this year we're beginning to see our third-year QSA students going on exchange. I haven't kept track of the exact universities, but several of them have already gone, they're going, or they're about to go. So the answer is yes.
Well, there's a question specifically directed towards me about if I can share about my exchange experience at University of New South Wales in Australia. Absolutely. So I was there in UNSW just last semester for about just 3 to 4 months. I was able to take many courses that I managed to get credits transferred back to HKUST. So that's definitely one of the reasons I chose UNSW. And I managed to take courses that were somehow related to my major, but at the same time, it was an opportunity for me to explore areas that laid beyond my major. Particularly, I went into security studies, for example, humanitarian action in this natural disaster management. How to do that? That is not courses that you would necessarily find at Global China Studies, by which I was able to study and learn more about at other institutions, and then obtain those credits back to SHSS. Now, Australia as a whole is a fantastic place to go on exchange, really relaxing as well.
Thanks, Fernando.
Okay. We have one question about whether it's essential to study maths for a QSA student. Certainly, once students are here, that's part of the requirements for QSA. There are 3 semesters of calculus as well as advanced students. If you're talking about the JUPAS subject, we don't require M1 and M2, although we give a bonus for M1 and M2 score.
What are the job prospects for GCS and QSA? Well, I'll say a little bit, and then Professor Campbell will add to that as well. So GCS trains students for a variety of different careers, skills in critical thinking, knowing about the history, culture, society, politics of China and the world, being able to write clearly and present data convincingly. Well, these are skills that prepare GCS students for careers in business, in public service, in journalism, in NGOs, in cultural institutions. I think these skills are good for most of the leadership positions that we'll see increasingly being desired in the world economy. And we have students who in recent years have gone on to positions in all of these fields, including further study at the MPhil and the PhD level.
As for QSA, I think the prospects are pretty good. Our students are beginning to get internships that are directly relevant to what they've been studying in QSA. So Hai-san interned at CBRE, yeah. And we've had other students that have been working often in private companies, helping them analyze their marketing data and so forth. So we had one student interned at actually at a company back in Korea for the summer, again using or helping them analyze marketing and customer data. So I think overall the prospects are quite good.
Next question is, can I take a double major or minors? So the answer is, of course. Students can do double majors and minors from other schools, and many of our students do. If you've experiences that
Absolutely.
you'd like to talk about.
So I'm taking a minor in design at School of Engineering. Even though I obviously have no background per se in engineering, I was able to enroll in this minor, and I've been taking several courses from the IELM, now IEDA department so far, that I can count that I will be able to graduate with.
And I should also add that if you're interested in psychology, you could also go for our new minor program being offered in the school starting next year in psychological and behavioral studies. And we have a number of students who are interested in minoring in that as well.
Can I also add that for QSA, we actually have students that are double majoring in QSA and in computer science. One of them actually has already graduated and is working at a bank this year and preparing his applications for postgraduate study. And we also have students that are minoring in business, in information technology, and in big data technology.
Yeah, for me, I'm also minoring in China studies, and I also want to pursue more minor in big data technology because I want to know more about the Chinese society and also how to use the big data technology to analyze for more complicated research results and help me to do some research in different aspects.
So why would one go to HKUST instead of another Hong Kong university for humanities and social science? So I'm sure we all have answers we could give to that question. I would single out as one of the special features of HKUST's programs, their interdisciplinary structure. Here as a student in GCS or QSA, you can pursue paths to knowledge in lots of different disciplines as part of your study. Not only will you do that, but you can also choose some to specialize in. I think that's very special about our programs, both the flexibility to explore things and the ability to follow your interests as they develop over the course of your study, which is entirely natural as an undergraduate. I think another very important feature of both of our programs is their size. They're relatively small, and that gives you a chance to get to know your teachers very well, your peers very well, and to receive a lot of advising and support and mentoring from faculty and staff in the program.
If I can just add to that, I think I'd second everything that Josh said, and I think I would also emphasize the quality of the faculty, which Josh had a slide earlier mentioning where our faculty had been trained, and also where in many cases our senior faculty previously worked before they came here. So we have people that actually were already senior faculty at places like Michigan, Harvard, Johns Hopkins, myself at UCLA, who were already full professors at these institutions and then moved here. And so I think we're a relatively small school, but I think it's very high quality. And as Hai-san's experience suggests, working with Professor Kira Mattis, who actually joined us from the University College London, there's actually a lot of opportunities to interact with faculty or work with faculty, especially for the more motivated students.
Fernando or Hai-san, are there any experiences that you'd like to emphasize?
I absolutely agree with all that has been said. For me, especially, HKUST offers a very interdisciplinary program insofar as you're able to really, well, Hai-san is taking several minors apparently, or wants to. That's really speaks of our students' ability and the program's ability to provide an education that's can be specialized, and you can do so through tracks and paths. But at the same time, it's very interdisciplinary insofar as you can combine it with programs of other schools at HKUST. And this is something that I find particularly important for the workplace today, not only in your knowledge of other skills, but also in your ability to communicate with people that might have different educational backgrounds to yours. And this is something our university definitely offers.
Yeah, I also think that the curriculum of GCS and QSA are also quite flexible, that you can take what you actually like. And actually, I think a general understanding on the society is important for us to have a general understanding to, rather than a specific field, so you can look in a more macro perspective.
Next question is where to find internships and jobs in our programs. There are a number of different venues for finding internships and jobs, and our undergraduates can tell you a bit more about their experiences doing that. I should mention that our school has a number of partners that we have that offer great internships in journalism and public service, NGOs, cultural institutions, and we try to match students with those partners. The school and the university have partners. We have a career center that helps students prepare for the job search, training on presentation, CV, letter writing, and to expose them to lots of different potential employers. We have a number of very distinguished mentors from outside the university who come here to talk to our students. We have one coming next week. We're all very excited about that as well. And the university invites firms and companies from lots of different industries to set up booths at UST and meet with our students to tell them about their opportunities and to recruit them for positions of employment. How did you guys find your internships?
Actually, the career mods I want to talk about, actually, for every semester, we will, HKUST will also have a week for career mosaic, which there are a list of companies. They will come and you can just look at the list to find some jobs that you are interested in and just go to ask them questions and try to put your CV and apply. So I think the Career Center and also HKUST provide a lot of opportunities for us. So we no need to worry about our job in the future.
The next question is, what are the formats for GCS interviews and when would I get invited for an interview? So we do interviews in a group setting, usually in June. And the format is that we're basically interested in getting to know about applicants' interests, getting a sense of how they think, how they speak in public, and how they reason, and the kind of interests and topics that they might be interested in developing when they're here as undergraduates. So we pose a few questions for discussion. They don't have right answers, they don't have wrong answers. They usually involve social issues that are relevant today, just as a way of stimulating applicants to speak and engage with each other and give us a sense about the kinds of things that they're interested in.
The next question is actually whether there is an interview for QSA. There is a invitation for an interview for Band A applicants, and there is a bonus for those who attend the interview. And generally, during the interviews, we follow a format very similar to the one for GCS that Josh just talked about. We invite students to talk about their topics in sort of social science. Sometimes we often invite them to talk about the projects that they did for their liberal studies curriculum and get some sense from them about how interested they are in studying topics in social science and in learning quantitative methods to sort of study those topics. And the next question is, are there any subject requirements for GCS and QSA? Do students need to have M1 or M2 for QSA? Is it hard for students not taking M1 and M2 to catch up? No, we don't have any subject requirements. You may remember from earlier, there are, for QSA, there's a bonus if you have M1 or M2, but it's not a requirement. In our experience, we've had students that came into QSA without M1 or M2, and they're doing okay. So it's certainly possible to come in without M1 and M2. Another question about QSA is, are there a lot of maths required courses in QSA? Actually, how many? Well, in fact, there's 3 semesters in the calculus sequence. And then there's also students have to take a class applied statistics over in the math department. And then within social science, then you take more sort of hands-on courses in data management and analysis. So I think it's safe to say that it's a fair amount of math. But again, and then there's a question about whether it's difficult for people who have not done M1 and M2. I think we have examples of students that came in without M1 and M2 and are doing fine in the curriculum. So it's certainly possible, even if you haven't done M1 and M2. And we have a question about the entry requirement of QSA for non-JUPAS applicants. So I think in general for the IB, we're looking for scores at around 36. For the GCS, we're looking for students in the range from AAA to AAA star. And pardon me, the GCE, the A levels. And then for the SAT, we're sort of typically seeing students with SATs in the range of 1430 to 1500. and then with a minimum of a total score of 1290. Another question about QSA is, other than government and some finance sector, other career prospects for QSA graduates? I think, in fact, what we've been seeing is that in many cases, the internships that students have been getting, like Haisan's internship in CBRE, are actually in regular companies that they have needs for people that can help them analyze market data, customer data, and related data. So I think there's actually, this, as I mentioned earlier, I think companies are accumulating data of all sorts, and they need people that can help them interpret it in a way that it sort of reflects some understanding of the social processes that are driving what they see in their data.
Actually, not only the business sector, maybe some NGOs or some statistical department or the government are also required people to analyze the data. So I think they can find their interest in the QSA study and found their right path for the future.
The next question is it very hard to study GCS? Well, I have free time to do other things. What other things are there to do in university? I think Fernando is probably the best person to answer that question.
Is it hard to study GCS? Well, it really depends on you. GCS per se, the minimum program requirements, meaning what courses you actually have to take to fulfill the requirements for graduation, I wouldn't say it is that hard. It takes a decent amount of time. Obviously, you're in university to study. That's the first thing you're supposed to be doing here. But definitely, if you only work on the courses and nothing else, I would say you still have plenty of free time to engage in other things. And the reason for this is because, well, as it just says, wants students to engage in other things. There's plenty more aspects of university other than simply academics. And it is in your interest as much as it is also for the universities for you to pursue those interests, both in academic and otherwise. And there are plenty of things to do at university, ranging from student societies of any kind, all kinds of sport. There's even rope skipping society, if I'm not wrong, which, I mean, if you're interested in doing rope skipping, I'm sure you can do that, as I talked about in my sharing as well. If there's something you're interested in and it is not offered by any department or student society in university, we give you the resources to create it from yourself. If you're interested in creating your own society, you're more than welcome to do so.
We have another question about what the entry requirement is for senior year entry students. Basically, we review all student profiles case by case, so we don't really have a specific requirement for that.
So our last question is it hard to get an exchange? Well, given the fact that over 80% of our students do exchanges, it's not difficult at all. And students, when they submit applications for exchange, give us a number of choices that they'd like ranked. We do our best to give them their first choice. If they can't get that, then we certainly aim to give them their second. Since you did an exchange,
I think it is, I will not say easy, but not difficult to get an exchange here, because HKUST is always encourage people to gain more global experience. So actually the requirement is not that high, and actually some of them no need for you to take IELTS or other tests. So I think it's quite favorable for us to do exchange if we want. Yeah.
One thing I could add to that is I think both GCS and QSA have fairly flexible curricula, so it's fairly easy for students, at least if they've kind of planned their courses out in advance, to include the exchange in their, in some cases, second, but more likely their third year without disrupting their studies. And quite often our exchange partners have courses that they can that students can then apply toward their GCS or their QSA requirements.
So if you have any other questions about anything that you've heard here today or topics that we haven't discussed, please click on these QR codes or write to our email addresses, check out our website. We'll be happy to answer any of your questions and give you further information. Please also check out the course lists that are posted on our website, and you can find out more about the particular course offerings that we grant in both of our major programs. And please be sure to follow us on our social media platforms on Facebook and on Instagram. It was great talking to you, and we hope to see you at UST.